Nice, okay. Now, which one should we watch? We're gonna watch Story Booth today. So guys, Story Booth is a really great channel, and you should definitely subscribe if you haven't already, to their channel, and also to me. But, yeah. So as you see, I already subscribed. I'm just gonna like this video already, because I know I love their animations, they're perfect. Okay. So let's watch this then.
When I was 11 years old, I was severely bullied. Every single day, I would wake up in fear, and I would wake up in fear that people were going to pick on me at school.
Okay, guys. Bullying. Just don't start, okay? When you get bullied, it's really hard to come back from that, alright? Just don't bully someone. Alright, let's see how this goes.
In fear that people were going to beat me at school, and I thought it was never going to end. When I was 12 years old, this is when it got real. I had to file restraining orders on people. I had to file lawsuits against people because
this is what happens when you bully. Not I'm rude and stuff, but come on. These bullies are absolute jerks. Alright, let's keep going.
At the end of the day, your feelings are the things that matter. It eventually escalated to the highest extent to where I would trap myself in my room 12 hours a day, not eat, not drink, not talk to any of my family members, and just sit in my own sorrow feeling. This eventually escalated to the point where I was self-harming. I was not...
Guys, if you're getting bullied, talk to someone. Don't start harming yourself.
taking care of myself. I was very self-conscious. I didn't want anyone to see me. I didn't want anyone to talk to me or even look at me. I was very, very, very intimidated by everyone. I locked myself in my room and started making YouTube videos. I made my first video, then my second, then my third, then my fourth, and soon enough I started gaining a following on YouTube because people knew the way I talked, people knew the way I acted, and it was an escape for me. When people found out that I was only 14, this is when hit the fan. It was crazy, not from boys, but from young girls my age.
Yay! Okay, so she got over that making YouTube videos, so that's pretty cool.
I realized I had a voice, a point of view, and I could also earn a living about posting my videos, which was the most insane thing because when I first started YouTube, I didn't even know you could make a dime. My parents found out when we were in a supermarket and one of my followers recognized me. This is when the cat was out of the bag. I had to tell my parents what I was doing and that people were following me and people looked up to me. They took it literally and thought people were actually following me, LOL. Now I've come to the realization that I can do much more than earn a good living with my social media accounts, but I can tell my story so other young girls and boys and LGBT friends know they too have a voice and people will listen and people are not victims. We are strong, powerful souls that can handle.
No words. That's just wow. That's just amazing. And going from extreme bullying, that's real good.
A lot. I don't have any answers or solutions that will stop bullying, but I do know that for all of us that have been bullied, we must use our experience and our voice to help others. And for my brothers and sisters in the world who have experienced bullying, I found out that the only way to light up a dark room is to light a match. We can't fight darkness with darkness, only with light. Let's show love. I am Swade Brooks. Every single painful thing that happens to you in your life is to build your greatness. Before I go, I wanted to give you some statistics on bullying and suicide, which are very alarming, and I thought they would be good to just kind of add in here.
Guys, come on, these animations are perfect, but doesn't change the fact about bullying and suicide. These are real facts. I looked them up.
Suicide is the third leading cause of death among young people, resulting in about 4,400 deaths per year. Over 14% of high school students have considered suicide, and almost 7% have actually attempted it. Bullying victims are between 2 to 9 times more likely to consider suicide than non-victims.
Yeah, just put that number in your phone, guys. Alright, and we're gonna move on to the next episode. Okay, guys, we are back, and now we are watching My Parents Can Never Forgive Me for What I Did That Night. Alright, let's go. Let's get time to get. Alright. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Maya, and the first concert I ever attended turned into a complete mess. But I still look back at that night fondly. So, I really like metal. It's not the only genre I listen to, but I've always enjoyed the heavier stuff. So, when I found out about a big concert happening in my town, I knew I had to go. A few cool bands were supposed to be there, and I dreamed of going to a concert like this since I was like 12. But as much as I wanted to go and be a cool metalhead who does whatever she wants, in reality, I was just a 15-year-old girl, and I had to ask my parents' permission to go there. And, well, they hated the music I listened to. They said it sounded like noise, not music. So I asked, and they said no. And then I asked again, and they said no again. All of this repeated.
Okay, guys, who denies their child their first concert? Come on.
Again and again, hundreds of times, and every time it was no. I gave up at first, but then I came up with a plan. I said I would go to my friend's house and spend the night at her place. My friend confirmed it for them. I packed my bag, but instead of pajamas and stuff like that, I packed an outfit I had put together for the concert. I also had some money I had saved from my birthday, and it was
Okay, guys, don't. Especially if you don't have a phone, don't do that.
enough to buy a ticket. I got there, but I still had one problem. Security wouldn't let me through because I was obviously too young for the concert. Let me explain something. I was 15, but I looked like I was 13, even with makeup on and my oversized leather jacket. So I had to come up with something. I noticed a cool girl standing outside. She had purple hair and a nose ring, and I went up to her and asked if she could help me get into the concert. She laughed and said, "I like you." She told security that I was her sister, and she would look after me. But he was still not sure. So then she started pleading, "Come on, please." And he finally agreed. I was finally inside, and it was so cool. There were so many people, and all of them looked so different, more interesting than regular people. I felt like I was home. It was very loud, of course, and also pretty dark. I was so overwhelmed with feelings. Some people were in a mosh pit, but I was too scared to go there. I couldn't really see the band because I was too far away in the back. I kept having to jump up to see them, and even then I could only see a little bit. Then some guy noticed me and asked, well, more like shouted in my ear, if I wanted to sit on his shoulders. I happily agreed and gave my bag to the girl who was my pretend sister. It was a little scary, but also incredibly cool, and I had been waiting for this my entire life. I thought that nothing could ruin it, but I was wrong. The dude jumped and I fell down. I didn't get hurt, but I fell down onto something wet, like someone spilled drink. It was pretty nasty, but it wasn't enough to ruin my evening, so I turned around to find my sister, but she was nowhere to be found. I started to look around to find her, but it was literally impossible.
$10 says she's gone and left with the backpack.
To look for her in the crowd. I finally realised that she had stolen my bag and that I wasn't getting it back. Now I was really panicking because my regular clothes, my phone, and the rest of my money was in that bag. How could I have given it to someone I'd just met? I went outside and started crying. I was wet, dirty, and alone. Suddenly some very big metalhead came up to me. He had long hair and a massive beard, and he himself was large and had very scary eyes. He was much older than everyone else, like 30 or 40. I thought that he wanted to rob me or something, but then he asked if I was all right and why I was crying. He had a very soft and kind voice. I told him everything that had happened.
Some people are good, some people are bad. That's just how life works.
He laughed and said, "Let's go and find your bag." We went inside and he was actively searching around, looking closely for people with purple hair. He finally found the girl and took my bag back from her. I thanked him and went outside again to go home. It was a very awkward and messy evening, and not what I had pictured at all. The guy that helped me came after me and asked if I wanted to go get a burger. He said, "There's a burger joint nearby. Let's go eat." I'm Andy, by the way. I realised that I was really hungry, so I agreed. So we were eating burgers, and I looked horrible, especially mascara, because I'd been crying all night. Andy, this big tough guy, told me, "When I was your age, I was always running away from home to go to concerts and stuff, but my family was horrible. I didn't want to be there. What about you? Same?" I looked down and said, "Not really. My parents are so nice." Andy smiled and said, "Then go home." I said, "I can't. They'll be super angry at me." Andy started laughing. "Yeah, they will. I'll give you money for a taxi." When I sat in the taxi and started to drive away, Andy gave me a rocker sign with his hand, and I did the same back. It was such a weird evening. I got home and tried to sneak in quietly, but my parents woke up, so I had to tell them everything. They were super angry, and they banned me from getting on the internet for over a month. For the next few days, I couldn't even look them in the eye. But then, something great happened. It was the first time my parents did something like this. They came into my room and gave me a guitar. They said, "If you like this music so much, you should at least learn something useful from it. Your guitar courses start tomorrow, and you have to practice for at least an hour every day as part of your punishment." I was so happy. I'm still practicing every day, even when my fingers hurt. And I named my guitar Andy, by the way. What's your favourite music? Share it in the comments, and like this video if you also dream of going to a big concert.
Alright guys, well that was sweet. That was just touching my heart. No, not really. But I will see you all in the next episode. And if you liked it, make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe. Not only to me, but to Story Booth. And actually happened, because that was... Wait. I think I said Story Booth. Alright, well guys, see you in the next episode.